Ensuring that you get clear title when you're purchasing a piece of property is crucial. Here's how you're going to do it. Hey folks, welcome back to Land Your Ground. This is part 4 of our video series on buying rural land, focusing on getting clear title and closing the deal. Once we have our fully signed contract and our financing is approved, we've sent all of our contracts over to either an attorney who represents the seller on the transaction or to a title company that both parties have agreed to. And essentially the next step is to do what they call title work. Title work basically means that the professionals are going to go to the courthouse and sift through all of the legal documents on the paper trail of ownership of that particular piece of property to see any liens or mortgages that have been recorded against the property, mechanics liens perhaps, easements that have maybe been recorded on it or over it, across it, anything like that that would have been recorded in public records at the courthouse. Now, some of this is stuff that you could do yourself. It's just far too important to omit something or miss something, and if it isn't something that you're experienced in, it's money well spent to hire a title company to do this work for you. On a typical piece of property, the fee is going to be probably somewhere in the $250 to $500 range. And they're going to need to do this title work to be able to provide an owner's title insurance policy. Or if you're purchasing the property, you'll also be required to get what's called a buyer's title policy to insure your lender against the property. It's possible that you might be able to do some of this initial legwork yourself by either going into the courthouse and sifting through public records, or if you're fortunate enough to be in a state or a county that's digitized some of those public records, you could get online and go through the county website and find some of it there. If you're in one of the more rural areas of the country, it's unlikely that your county has gone to the extent of digitizing those public records yet. It's probably going to be an in-person visit to the courthouse. So what happens if something comes up in the title work that you didn't know about? Something that you maybe have a big problem with and aren't okay with. It's a game changer on whether or not you want to purchase this property. That's what's called an objectionable exception. And so you would have the right under the contract to reply in writing saying, this is objectionable, I'm not okay with that. And then the other party in the transaction would typically have like 7 to 10 days to cure that or remedy that, make that legally go away if they can. And now if they can't, then you should be entitled to be able to cancel the contract and be refunded your earnest money. And if it can be cured from the title, then the transaction just proceeds just as it originally would have. Now this is the part where you determine how you want to take title. And that means what name you actually want on the deed and to show up on the plat book and so on. And that's going to either be as a private individual or individuals. If you're purchasing it with someone else, a spouse for instance, maybe you want to take it as joint tenants or tenants in common, or perhaps you want to form a corporation and buy it as an LLC or an S Corp or a trust or a limited partnership. There's a lot of options, and it would be a good idea for you to probably talk with an accountant or financial planner and perhaps an attorney, if not your agent, to get a good explanation of what each of those is and what are some of the pros and cons for you to consider. Now it's time to schedule the closing, get everybody on the same page, meet, sign all of the documents, and then have the deed recorded at the courthouse in the county where the property is located. And congratulations, you can now celebrate because you're a landowner. You might be wondering, how long does this process normally take? Typically about 30 days. But if it were a cash purchase and there were no survey or other contingencies, it could be done in maybe 10 to 14 days. If you're going to have a survey and an appraisal and some inspections, or if you're using maybe an FSA-backed government loan, you might be looking at more like 60 to 90 days to be able to close. All of these are important steps in the process of buying rural land. Hopefully this series has gotten you a little bit more ready and well informed so that you can take your steps in becoming a landowner. I hope you've enjoyed this breakdown. If you missed the first 3 videos in this series, you should definitely go back and check those out. Whether you choose to use an agent or go about it solo, it's important to pay attention to the details and thoroughly evaluate the property. It's a big investment, but with the right knowledge and preparation, you can make your dream of land ownership a reality. If you found this video to be helpful, like and subscribe to join our tribe, and ring the bell to get notifications when we put out more valuable content. And if you have any questions or need more information on this process, go ahead and leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time here on Land Your Ground.